Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the War Room here at Birds vs. Boys. It's Mock Draft 3.0, but it's a little bit different than our usual mock drafts. If you are back from watching one of our other mock draft videos, thank you for coming back. If it is your first time, welcome. Make sure you pop into mock draft 0.0, 1.0, and 2.0. Usually, I draft for the Cowboys. Aidan drafts for the Philadelphia Eagles. But Aidan, how are we doing it a little bit differently today?
Like you mentioned, you're usually Cowboys. I'm usually Eagles. This is Birds versus Boys, but we're going to want to improve all teams. Every team tonight, we're doing a one-round mock draft, picks 1 through 31, where we're going to draft for everybody, not just our team. So Kevin
Except
and
for the
I,
Dolphins.
except for the Dolphins, who did get forfeited. I'm sorry, we will not improve your team today. But Kevin and I will go through. We're in the war room. We'll put our GM cap on, and we'll see what we can do for every single team. We'll go down the line. There's no AI. There's no computers. It's just our brains cooking up what we can to improve your team today as if it is draft night.
All right, well, let's hop in. And Aidan, we've already entered the draft room as the Chicago Bears with the first pick. And Aidan, we've gotten 10 trade offers. We don't need all of you to sit there and look at all the trade offers. We have a trade that we think is fair, that we are ready to accept, correct?
Correct. So what we're seeing here, the Bears, if you're a Bears fan, you're in a great spot. You have your presumable franchise quarterback in Justin Fields, a ton of cap space, and you're going to have a ton of picks after this. There's an arms race to get quarterbacks at the beginning of the draft. So what we're going to do, the Colts are going to move up to pick 1. It's going to take them 5 picks to do it, including their first and second round pick next year, as well as pick 4 this year. So the Bears end up with 5 picks, including the pick swap, in exchange for pick 1. And, maybe they even move back again to pick 4. We'll see when we get there. But the reason we went Colts, the Texans can move up even at 2 because they're trying to protect other teams like the Colts from moving up. I think the Colts as a team and as a franchise are so desperate for a franchise quarterback. It's been a carousel of mediocre quarterbacks. They want to just get the guy, and they'll probably give up anything to do it because multiple people are trying to save their jobs by doing so. So
that's why we're willing to give up much more than the Texans were in the simulation as well.
Correct. Also, the way the simulation played out. So we'll hit offer trade here. Looks like we have a good chance of that being accepted, and then we'll choose our quarterback for the Colts. So the Colts are 1, and now they are on the clock. Kevin, I think we're probably looking at 2 guys here. Bryce Young, the quarterback out of Alabama, and CJ Stroud, the quarterback out of Ohio State. I don't know if there's any other names that you want to mention in here, but I think those are the 2 that are most likely to go number 1.
I think Will Levis has a chance to be in the conversation here. As you can see, he's actually the second-ranked quarterback, 4th player overall, 1 spot ahead of CJ Stroud. However, I mean, he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, so I don't think he can be the first overall pick.
No, I don't think so either. I can see CJ Stroud in a Colts uniform. Is that weird?
No, it's not weird because I could see the same kind of thing because haven't we seen him play there in the championship game?
Big Ten championship? Yeah. It just feels like that would be a really good fit for them. And, I like Bryce Young a lot. That kid's a gamer, but I think there would be some worry about his size. You look in the past, the Colts, they really like the sturdy pocket passer guys. You're looking at all these things here with CJ Stroud, where he wins, accuracy. What's his role? Pocket passer. These are things that you saw with Andrew Luck, in which they've been chasing for quite some time. And he feathered multiple 60-yard go balls. Okay. Isn't that what you would like to see? Taking shots down the field? Yep. Almost never misses layups. So they've been chasing Andrew Luck. So try to get that sturdy franchise guy. I don't know about you, but I feel like CJ Stroud's on the table.
I agree. And I've always wanted to be from a place like Cucamonga, California.
Cucamonga, California. Unreal.
Rancho Cucamonga. What a name.
That is actually where the Ball brothers played basketball, isn't it?
Well, maybe I don't want to take CJ Stroud. I do agree with you here. I mean, I'm a big Bryce Young fan. Obviously, he's a winner. He comes from that Alabama pedigree. However, I mean, 6 foot here. I mean, he combine, he was 5'10". So, and he was like 180 something.
Classic 5'10" guy move to list yourself as 6 foot.
Actually, here you go. Young measured 5'10" and 1/8.
Another classic 5'10" move to say you're 1/8 height.
Hey, it was the combine. It was the combine
right.
people that did it. Okay.
True.
I think he's a winner. I think he's a baller. Philadelphia guy. However, I mean, lunch pail, come to work every day, big arm. I think that's more CJ Stroud than Bryce Young in a Colts uniform for me.
It's picturing it, and I can picture CJ Stroud. I think we've got our first overall pick.
CJ Stroud goes 1 to the Colts.
Now, if you're a Texans fan, this is the dream scenario, right? You gave up no picks. You had an arsenal of picks to begin with from the Deshaun Watson trade.
Yep.
And you're looking for your franchise quarterback. Rumor has it that the Texans are almost certainly going to go quarterback. I know there's some other names, but we just talked about Bryce Young. Can't you see him on the Texans?
Yes. I mean, if CJ Stroud goes 1, okay. Wow. We got 1A at 2. I'm fine with it. I mean,
without giving up anything. I think
that's the only reason why if I'm the Texans too, do I really want to move up to 1? Because okay, if I don't get Stroud, then I'm gonna get Bryce Young. If I don't get Young, I'm gonna get Stroud. And if something crazy happens, I still have Will Levis. Or who knows, if something even crazier goes and the Bears stay there and pick somebody else, or somebody else trades up and doesn't take a quarterback, then you have your chance of both. So I think the Texans are in a great spot here.
Perfect. All right. Bryce Young it is.
Boom. And
now,
here we go.
Pick 3, the Arizona Cardinals, coached by the worst coach in the entire league, who will absolutely and undoubtedly see hell, Jonathan Gannon. I am not biased in any way, shape, or form against that man, but I don't even want to give him a good player. I would go to the bottom of the draft and give him somebody if I could. But in fairness to Cardinals fans and people like that, give me. It drives me nuts. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking.
Out of TCU.
Perfect. Give it to him if I could. Now, I want to know how you feel about this, but I'm looking at 2 guys. I love my Georgia guys. I love Jalen Carter. I think he's going to slip a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even necessarily just the off the field thing. I think edge rusher is a big point of emphasis for the Cardinals. Will Anderson Jr., and we've got our guy from Texas Tech as well. Thoughts on that? Maybe skipping Jalen Carter and opting for another guy, Tyree Wilson or Will Anderson.
I think Will Anderson's going to be an absolute stud in the NFL.
I agree.
Alabama, 6'4", 243. He shored up his concerns about size of the combine. He's explosive. He's impactful every single down. Over 200 pressures in 3 seasons. I mean, like you've been saying, anybody that wants to take Tyree Wilson, an edge rusher from Texas Tech, over Will Anderson, an edge rusher from Alabama, please be my guest.
And won't be here on this show. If this is your first time, and it might be because we changed up the format here tonight, it's best players from best teams. He was literally named the best player in college football playing in Alabama. Just take your chances that'll work out in the NFL.
Any chance here the Cardinals would listen to trade offers?
Probably if somebody was trying to come up to get Anthony Richardson.
Or Will Levis.
But I really think this is like spot on for them. Just go get the best player available, which I think they can do in Will Anderson.
And I think are we both consensus on Will Anderson here?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. And look at that. The Bears fall all the way back to 4. They have 5 picks that they got from the Colts, and they're sitting here with a chance to get Jalen Carter.
I think that's what they do. I can see him in the Chicago colors.
Yes.
I think they're going to want to bolster that defensive line. As an Eagles fan, I've seen Javon Hargrave linked to them in free agency. That means that they're in the market for defensive interior linemen. Jalen Carter is the best one in the draft. Listen, I know he thinks he's a Fast and Furious character, but it doesn't really matter. I think this is where he goes, and I can see him with the Bears.
Yep. I think 6'3", 300 pounds. He's young. He's barely going to be 22. I mean, he's right there with Quentin Williams as the best defensive tackle prospect they've ever graded. I mean, has to go top 5.
And I was going to say, those are the situations, like if you're in a war room and your job's on the line and you're a GM, and I'm not saying that Ryan Poles' job is on the line, but it's like these are the ones you take the shots, because if it doesn't work out, you can't knock the logic at all. You took the best graded defensive interior lineman from one of the historically great defenses of all time in college football. It's kind of just a no-brainer, right? I think Jalen Carter is the guy here at 4.
And you got 5 draft picks in the process.
Correct. You'll be back on the clock soon.
Yes, I think it's a no-brainer. Jalen Carter, 4 to the Bears. Now I think it gets interesting here.
It does. Now, the 2 that are most available or best available are Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, 2 quarterbacks. The Seahawks just inked Keno Smith to a deal.
Yep.
So, I don't think it's those 2 guys. The guy that we brought up, and I want your thoughts. Yep, Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Texas Tech.
Yep.
Doesn't he feel like a Seattle Seahawk?
Yes.
Just a guy who, where he wins, wingspan. What's his role? Versatile defensive lineman.
Yep.
It just feels like he would be a guy who fits with the Seahawks, who emphasize defense. We're talking Legion of Boom, 12 man, everything like that. Just having
his last name is Wilson.
His last name is Wilson. Just having a guy like this who's flying up the draft boards because of his wingspan and his athletic ability, and just having a unique physical skill set, it just screams Seattle Seahawks to me.
This reminds me of, like, I could see him walking into the meeting with Pete Carroll and just takes his shirt off like DK Metcalf did.
Yes.
And Pete Carroll will be like, yep, this is my pick.
This is the guy. Yeah.
Yep.
They love physical freaks, and
Yep.
Tyree Wilson is one. And that's why this works.
I think this is the pick, Aidan.
Lock it in.
Done. And the Lions on the clock, who possibly could be in the realm for a quarterback. But Goff played out of his mind last year.
True. Let's say this. For sake of time, we won't do a trade, but 6 screams trade potential for me.
Yes, 100%.
I think Jared Goff is their guy. But if you're a team like the Panthers, you want to leapfrog the Falcons and the Raiders there. Actually, if you want, we can try a trade real quick. I think we can knock this out, because I think this is Anthony Richardson. So if we can do this real quick.
Falcons coming up
too. I really think the Panthers are going to go after Anthony Richardson. What do you think on this?
Yeah, I agree. All right, so they're going to come up for 6. So we're going to take 9. They won't take 39. They would take 61.
And I think it would take another pick next year. Yep, round 2 next year.
Nope.
For that, let's say pick 9 and you pick up a round 2 next year. And even then, I think you take your disclaimer with this, and there we go. Yeah, we'll take another pick there. So let's lock that in.
Okay.
And let's have the Panthers move up to 6.
Done and done.
And
Panthers are on the clock.
I really like Anthony Richardson. I think he's an athletic freak, but I just think after that combine performance and the way he can twirl a ball downfield, effortlessly throw it 60 to 70 yards, I can see teams falling in love with that. This is a guy who's a freak athlete, dual threat guy, ran a lot of read options, made a lot of plays with his legs. Who's that sound like in college? Cam Newton. Now, obviously, Anthony Richardson didn't have nearly as much success as Cam Newton did, who was one of the greatest college players of all time. But, right, like, this is just an offensive weapon at quarterback. It makes sense for the Panthers to pull trigger on this.
Yep, 100%. And the things that I'm hearing about Anthony Richardson, obviously, he's an athletic freak, 6'4", 232, can sling it, has all the measurables, does all the things on the field. However, it's that study portion. It's either he doesn't know how to do it to the extent he needs to be a pro, or he just isn't into it, the study portion. But if there's a guy who I want to team him up with, it's Frank Reich.
Yep. And you can teach a guy to read a defense.
Yes.
You cannot teach him to throw it 70 yards down the field without trying.
And Frank Reich can teach that.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think this is Anthony Richardson all day.
Perfect. Let's do it. Let's lock it in. Now, is this the Will Levis spot? I think the Raiders can go a lot of different ways. Derek Carr is now a New Orleans Saint. We knew that was coming at the end of last year, or at least that he wasn't going to be back with the Raiders. This could be the Will Levis spot. There could be the run on quarterbacks early and edge rushers. What do you think? There
I
could be
think
some
it
other
has
guys,
to be.
but
I
you
really
think
do
so?
because they're otherwise they are in. I mean, they're in quarterback hell now anyway, right? I think they thought they had a chance to get Brady. That didn't happen. Then I thought they had a chance that they were going to get A-Rod. Now that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I think Jimmy Garoppolo may be going there, but he's just a placeholder. You need to draft quarterbacks. You need to draft them high. You have guys like Darren Waller. You need to give those guys
Devontae
a
Adams.
quarterback. And I think Will Levis, especially a guy that has such a talented arm, would fit. He fits. I think he's going to step right in to be that, big armed quarterback that can learn behind a Jimmy Garoppolo for a year.
And I think he's a guy who just needs to be in the right situation.
Mm-hmm.
And the right situation is usually throwing to Devontae Adams. Like if you can't succeed throwing it to him, you're probably not going to succeed in the NFL. It'll
Not that
be
difficult.
pretty tall tale or not. So I think you're right. Will Levis is the guy here.
All right. Will Levis to the Raiders at 7. And now we are here with the Falcons.
Falcons, this is a really interesting one because they kind of need everything. Right?
Yep.
So I could see them going any different amount of ways.
Yep.
This is where it starts to really get interesting because the Falcons remember the year that the Knicks were on the clock and it was team needs everything?
Yes.
The Falcons need a quarterback. They
Yep.
need receiver help with Calvin Ridley gone.
Yep.
Their defense was atrocious. They can't block anybody. I don't know if you're leaning towards one person in particular, but you cannot go wrong. Well, you can go wrong player-wise, but you can't go wrong position-wise with what they need.
I think they're going to go offensive here. That's just the feel I get from them. I mean, we don't know what Ritter is yet as a quarterback. Obviously, we see quarterback is a need. Marcus Mariota's out the door. Who knows if they're going to sign a quarterback in free agency? They've obviously been linked to Lamar. So we don't know there. All the top quarterbacks are off the board. I don't think there's a quarterback they would take here at 8 that is left. I mean, I don't even who's the next available. Yeah, it's Tanner. I mean, Hendon Hooker. These are all later round guys. So, I mean, I don't know why Jackson Smith and Jigba keeps sticking out for me, but he just seems like maybe it was what he wore in Ohio State. He seems like I see him with the Falcons. But who are you thinking about here?
So I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, but here's the thing with it. They took Drake London in the first round last year. I don't know if they go receiver back to back.
Yep.
I think they could go edge rusher if Miles Murphy was available. Lucas Van Ness is a guy, but I don't see him going to the Falcons. I don't know if you do, but I really don't see that.
I don't.
Yeah, if you keep scrolling, man, Nolan Smith is another guy that I could really see too. But maybe we give them Miles Murphy.
Okay.
Because I think edge rusher is one. And he's kind of a boom guy.
Yep.
I feel like
he's from Georgia.
Yeah.
Clemson. Yeah. I mean, 6'5", 275. He's an every down edge, which is something they need. He's got power. Yeah, I think this would be a good pick within the top 10 for them.
Yeah, it kind of reminds you of Clelin Ferrell when he went in the top 10. You're like, he was slotted. He could have won 18. He could have won 4.
Yep.
It didn't really. It was kind of really. He had the biggest range. I think Miles Murphy is the biggest range guy, but it would make sense right now for if you're there and you don't win the quarterback sweepstakes, they probably go edge.
Yep. All right, let's go Miles Murphy here. So now this is also interesting because I could see them going a couple different ways here.
So can I. What are your thoughts?
I could definitely see one of the two cornerbacks, whether it be Witherspoon or Gonzalez. And I think if Witherspoon goes, that hurts the Eagles because I think they're pretty locked in on him right now.
I think so too.
And then I could also see them taking Kancey here out of Pitt. He's one of the best interior defensive players. You put him with Aidan Hutchinson that they took first overall last year. I think that helps out big time as well. And Lucas Van Ness is still there if you want to add another edge rusher, but I don't think I'd go there. I think I'd go either defensive interior or one of the two top corners.
I agree. So I think they're going to want to bolster that defense. I could see them going corner. It's kind of your preference on who you like better, Christian Gonzalez or Devin
Mhm.
Witherspoon. Now, here is one thing. We know how Dan Campbell thinks, and he wants maulers. He wants guys who are just going to tear people's legs off. What was that quote? He wanted to just bite people's legs or
Biting
whatever like
kneecaps
that.
off.
Yes, biting kneecaps off. I know that Kalijah Cansey, his explosiveness wows people. And I think it's probably because he went to Pitt, but he gets those Aaron Donald comparisons, which is probably not even fair to him. But it's the same jersey, same Pitt guy, same mold. I'm probably leaning one of the corners or Cansey. What do you think?
That's where I am. I mean, he ran a 4.67, which is insane. 6 foot 280. Yeah, and he's. I mean, this right here.
This.
But Lord, he is difficult to block.
That
screams Dan Campbell to me.
Yeah. Yep. I like this guy, and I know how this is going to look. I know this set me up for Devin Witherspoon. I'm being 100% honest before we get to the Eagles.
Yep.
I think there's a better chance that they go Cansey than they go Witherspoon.
I do as
well.
The rumor
has it they're going to go defensive line or corner. The Eagles are a defensive line interior. They invest in that infrastructure all the time. I think it'd be more likely that they go him if both were available. But I really like the Lions going somebody like this.
Me as well. So I'm gonna pull the trigger.
All right.
And you are on the clock, Mr. Philadelphia Eagle. I think we already know what the pick is.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be Devin Witherspoon. Again, the Eagles invest in the line. It is all about the infrastructure to them. I think they would like some of these guys, but we saw there was a run on edge rushers there. So they didn't really have the potential to get those guys. And Kalijah Cansey goes at 9 to the Lions. So it kind of forces their hand. And I think James Bradbury won't be back. We don't know how much longer they have Darius Slay. They're trying to find a new CB1, really. So I really think a guy who is an island number 1 CB and Devin Witherspoon is probably the guy.
Yeah, I think he is. He's everything that they want in a corner. I think you can teach this, right? You can improve on the penalties.
And that's
you can't teach.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. If you can leave him on an island from day one, then put in the card.
And I mean, you're going to need guys like this in the NFC East, right? The Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. I mean, you have Scary Terry out there. Eagles, or the Giants, they have Slayton. But, good corner play is going to be important. So I think Witherspoon is a great option here, unfortunately.
There you go. Lock it in.
The Titans. What are the Titans?
So this is so weird that this is the most sure one I'm about.
Okay.
And all right, this is another team that this is going to be defensive line or offensive line, right? Like that's just who they are. I have one that I know that they are going to fall in love with.
Okay.
Think about even their coaches the other day were talking about, we don't want to play this Golden State Warriors offensive style and everything like that. We don't want finesse. We want to be bullies. We want to be strong. We want this bully ball. Nolan Smith was at the combine talking about throwing hay bales as part of his workout program and just how he was country strong.
Yep.
They're likely they released Taylor Lewan so they could obviously go tackle.
Yep.
But they're also releasing Bud Dupree. So I think they could go defensive end. This just feels like a guy who comes from a Georgia defense where they're dogs, they're country strong. He's got that culture too, right? Like the Titans are about strength, they're about the culture, they're about get your hands dirty, get your nose dirty, get in there and make tackles.
Yep.
I can really see them pulling the trigger, even if it's considered a reach on Nolan Smith.
And even like that 4.39 speed for a defensive end, like that coaching staff's going to fall in love with that.
Yeah.
And his
100%.
vertical, his broad. I mean, I think he locked himself into being a top 15 pick with his performance at the combine.
Both performance on and off the field.
Yes. Yep.
One teammate had a very bad week. Nolan Smith had the complete opposite week of how to handle those situations. So
I agree.
It's this type of stuff that front offices from a human interaction level fall in love with.
All right, let's go Nolan Smith.
Let's do it. And I think
Texans back on the clock.
All right. I have rules about the draft. One of them is if you draft a quarterback, what do you do next? You've just invested heavily into this asset. He's going to be there for 10 years. You protect your most valuable asset.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have banks. That's why we have car insurance. That's why we have everything that we have is to protect our assets. So I think the Texans, after drafting Bryce Young, probably go offensive line. What do you think?
Especially a slighter, slimmer, smaller quarterback.
Yes. Yeah. Your most valuable asset at the most important position in football is undersized. I think what you want to do is make sure that he doesn't get killed.
So is it Skoronski here or Paris?
It's either Skoronski or Paris from Ohio State. I'll leave it up to you. What do you think between the two?
I don't know. Skoronski's arms are a little small, but are they long? Yeah. I mean, I want to tackle here. I don't want to guard. I could see him being pushed to guard, possibly.
Yeah, I was about to say, and he could be a very, very good guard.
Yes.
But I think Paris Johnson's probably a more reasonable tackle prospect. Like
6'6", 310, played at Ohio State.
Yep. And you see what's his role, left tackle, like no doubt about it. So long arms, big, I think if you're trying to protect Bryce Young, I think this one makes more sense. And it's not really a knock on Skoronski.
I think it's a no-brainer. I really do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Paris Johnson. And the Jets with, I'm assuming, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Well, again, let's just run this back. You're about to trade for and invest in a very valuable asset at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do after you get that very valuable asset in Aaron Rodgers? Protect.
Now, I could see Skoronski being a Jets pick.
Okay. Him or the tackle from Georgia. It's between those two. So do you think Skoronski's the guy?
I mean, that's the Jets.
Yeah, it's kind of we're trying to put our brains inside the brains of the people around the team. Sometimes it's hard to put your brain inside the brain of a Jets executive.
I mean, are the Jets being like, "Yep, Georgia," or are they being like, Northwestern? I mean, they took a kid from BYU last year who looks like he's 14.
Yeah, I could see Skoronski.
I don't know why. I just feel like he looks like a Jet.
He does look like a Jet.
He looks like a young Mangold.
And I don't know if I mean that in a good way, though.
Yeah.
He is versatile, though, and for a team that you need offensive line help no matter what. Having a guy who's versatile, like if he has to plug in and play guard, I think that's a solid fit. So we'll give him that.
Right here. I mean, there are not truly many reasons for concern about his state.
Yeah, be safe if you're there. You already took the risk on Zach Wilson and it didn't pay off. And you're coming off. They had last year. I will give them credit. I mean, that's one of an all-time draft. What they did to get all the guys that they did. Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner. Even Jermaine Johnson. What a great draft. And Garrett Wilson. They hit on all 4 picks. In the first 4. So
get a protector.
Yeah, get a protector. Offensive line, no matter what, but I think it'll be Skoronski.
Now I have a pick here, and I don't know. We'll see if we're in the same brain of who we both think would be a fit here.
Because I have one too, and it's just the most Patriots thing. But that was literally I saw one guy from Iowa. I was like Patriot.
Yep.
No matter what.
Defensive end, 6'5", 270. I mean,
shooting up the draft boards. Locking in. I don't even know if we have to really go into it.
No. I think it's perfect.
And he's a guy who's been flying up, and I don't think he makes it out of the top 15.
I don't know if his role is versatile offensive lineman, though.
Probably not as a edge rusher. So
I think this is just a Bill Belichick pick all day long.
Very funny. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Lock it in?
Yep. Yes. That was the most guaranteed lock in the entire draft.
All right. So
I have a very funny one for 15.
Okay.
So it's not realistic, but it's funny. You ever see that Office clip where he's like, I didn't say it was a good idea. I said it was a fun idea.
Yes.
Okay, so picture this. Aaron Rodgers is a Jet now. Part of the fallout has been that the Packers didn't get him enough weapons to succeed as quarterback. I think it'd be kind of funny if they went wide receiver the year that he left.
And they need it, right? They
do need it.
I mean, and you have a young quarterback. He's going to be making his first season actually starting. Why not give him another weapon?
So here's the one I'm thinking, because you got Christian Watson on the outside. Are you thinking Jackson Smith and Jigba as your slot receiver?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm right there with you.
I think he played at Ohio State, not that far away, even though I don't really know where Wisconsin is. I'm just assuming.
I just, to me, this is for the plot. Like, I think it's just funny. I just think it'd be.
But I think they hate Aaron Rodgers so much at this point that they will do this.
That they would do it. They're like, yeah, we're going to set this other guy up to succeed. I
feel like it's. Also, I mean, getting him at 15 is good value. I mean, look at these players that are still here because of the quarterback run.
We forget how good this kid is because he got hurt in week 1 and didn't really play, and we have like recency bias.
Didn't he have 800 yards in the Rose Bowl the year before?
Yes, like he was the best of all. Like Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith, and Jigba. He was the best one on the field.
Yes,
a year ago, and now Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a top 10 pick next year. But still, lock that one in. Nothing more than for the laughs. That's the one that blows up Twitter on draft.
Oh yes. All right, I'm gonna go.
Team needs for the Commanders. Are there any
kicker from Auburn?
Yeah. Can they draft anybody who's like a multi-billionaire who hasn't committed tax fraud or sexual harassment?
Nope.
Is there anybody on the board?
Nope.
They could go multiple ways here. I have one, and this is bias, but I was at the game where they got Carson Wentz murdered and he was sacked 9 times.
Yes.
They need maybe help. Offensive line. I know there's a few tackle prospects there. QB's another one, linebacker. All of these are like fake things, but
I think this could be the tackle from Georgia's time.
Me too. Right there. They were picking around the same spot last year. Got Jahan Dotson. People thought maybe that was a bit of a reach, and then it worked out well. Broderick Jones is another one. Like maybe that's a bit of a reach, but not really, because there's going to be a run. There's a few tackles this year that set themselves apart. He'll probably be one. So I think this is fair for them.
Yeah, I think it's something they need, and we're also picking how we would pick smartly. So I think it's what they need.
Your Commanders.
So let's go. Probably.
They haven't drafted poorly. They're just a dumpster fire in every PR way.
Yep. I have my pick for my guess, but you tell me what you think here.
I think you scrolled to what it's going to be. Pennsylvania kid. His dad played for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Physically tough corner.
Mm-hmm.
Played at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Stays in state.
Mm-hmm.
Great fundamentally. Can play press. Can leave him there. Great skill set. Great family. Great toughness.
And what are the 3 things I feel like that the Steelers are all about? Family, toughness.
Exactly.
Pennsylvania.
Culture. Yeah, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Just Joey Porter Jr. just screams like Steeler.
This is like my first. So you know how like scouts in the war room, they say like they have like their fake pen throws, like this is my first like actual like real pen throw. Like I'm upset.
Yeah,
because I love Joey Porter Jr.
I would take him on.
Now I don't think there's any way he lasted 26, but I'm upset.
100%. I like him. I love him. He was a lot of fun to watch at Penn State, Pennsylvania kid, like I said. And I think that just screams Steeler. I know Mike Tomlin was looking at the offensive lineman at the combine, but you just saw how it played out with Broderick Jones and Skoronski both going off the clock right before them. So unless they're trading up to do it, which doesn't always feel like a Steelers move. I think the last time they traded up was for Devin Bush. So I think if they sit and get Joey Porter Jr., they're not going to be that disappointed.
Me either. Make the pick. And the Lions are back. So who we picked for them first pick?
Long time ago.
Yep. Can't see. Oh
Hold
man,
on.
if this falls to them,
This plays out perfectly. Well, who are we deciding between on the last two?
Christian Gonzalez and can't see.
Yep.
That's unbelievable. If this, I mean, I think he's CB1 in this draft. CB1, 1A, 1B. I think him, Porter, and Witherspoon are all very close. But I mean, if he drops to them here, what a get. I mean, that's almost as good as what the Jets did last year.
Steal.
Yeah.
You run up the card. So
Yes.
that's what we're going to do. Run up the card for the Lions.
Done.
That played out as perfectly as it can play out for you.
Done and done.
And I think I have another one for the Bucks that they could run up the card.
Okay. Talk to me.
So they might lose both of their safeties in free agency.
Yep.
Brian Branch is sitting there at 18. You don't even have to trade up to get him.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at. Yeah, I don't think they're going to go wide receiver here. You still have your guys. Who knows what they're going to do quarterback wise, but yeah, I mean, bolster the defense. Obviously, Todd Bowles is the defensive guy. I think this would be his pick.
100%, and I like it too.
Yeah, and I could see him in a Bucks uniform.
Oh yeah.
Seahawks back on the clock. Who did we take earlier for them? We took Tyree Wilson, the edge from Texas Tech.
All right. So what they need, they were looking at defensive line, which we did, guard, center. We'll see if there's anything that they really need, really like. PFF has the weirdest.
I know.
Some of the things that they have in here in terms of who they think is good and who's not is really something.
Yes.
I have one that seems like a reach, but you just went to him.
Talk to me.
I know this is going to feel like a reach, but also they've already drafted Tyree Wilson in the top 5. Let's go back to our method. They just invested in Geno Smith. They gave him $100 million. What do you do after you invest in a guy?
You protect him.
You protect him. Now, I know this is you're going to have to scroll a little bit, but stick with me here.
Florida?
The Florida kid, Osiris Torrance.
Osiris Torrance.
The guard.
Cowboys are looking at him big time at 26.
Okay, so that makes me feel a little bit better. We had to scroll a little bit to get there, but you can see here, there's never been a more guard prospect.
Yep,
he built in a lab to play guard. Well,
he plays in a phone booth, as they say.
We'll take it. And you know what? Not only did they invest in Geno Smith, think about what they did early last year. Invest in the run game in Kenny Walker.
Yep.
Kenneth Walker coming back, healthy now. They want to run the ball. They want to manage the clock, everything like that. Get a guy like this that you can run behind.
Yep. He is a massive human being. He didn't have to go to Florida. He followed his coach there to prove that he could do it against the best of the best in the SEC. And guess what? He did it. And I think he's going to reap the benefits here. And I do think he's going to get drafted in the first round.
There we go. We will take it.
Oh, sorry, Dolphins.
Sorry, Dolphins. I feel bad. Quentin Johnson's still on the board. I'm not hearing a lot that's like good.
No.
So here's the thing with Quentin Johnson. The Chargers need a receiver. I just don't know if it's him. Right? Like Jackson Smith and Jigba would have been perfect for that.
Yes.
They need
a speedster.
Yeah, like what's his role? X receiver. I'm like, well, the Chargers have the best X receivers in the game in Mike Williams.
Yeah,
so I just don't think it's a fit, even though they need receiver.
Yeah. So you know what I think could be a fit?
What's that? You think tight end?
I mean, Dalton Kincaid is basically just he's what people are saying is kind of like the closest to Kelsey. He's a playmaker. He could be that slot guy that they're looking for. You're trying to help out your quarterback, your new OC, and Kellen Moore loves tight ends.
And they're kind of, I know they had Gerald Everett, but kind of recovering from Hunter Henry leaving. That was a safety valve for them for quite some time.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with loading up on weapons for Justin Herbert. So yes.
Just feels like a Chargers move for me.
Yeah, we'll take it.
All righty.
I have one for the Ravens too.
Okay.
This is like now or never territory for them. Like if you don't help, whether Lamar comes back or not, this is now or never.
Yes.
You have to help the quarterback.
Yes.
It's getting a little ridiculous. Jordan Addison a year ago was the best receiver in football. He fell a little bit in this draft. I could see him going in the top 20. I could see him going before some of the guys that we mentioned.
Yep.
But doesn't this feel like
Yes.
if Lamar comes back, one of the things is you got to help me out. Help me out financially, but help me out in playmaking ability.
That's got to be his in his contract. Because I don't think they've taken I feel like I also read that they have not drafted a Pro Bowl wide receiver in like 30 years.
Insane. That's
Since,
what I'm
like,
saying.
Steve
It's like
Smith.
now or never territory.
Yeah.
So and he's
like
from Frederick, Maryland. I did not know that. So let's send you home, brother.
You're heading home. All right. The frauds.
Oh man.
I don't even care.
Yeah, I was about to say. I guess you got to go defense with them the way that they got shredded, right? I mean, you could probably go receiver opposite of Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen's getting older and they don't really have anybody aside from that. But that was the guy that I was looking for.
Yep.
Versatile defensive tackle, kind of bendy, can get to the quarterback. They need the help there. Doesn't this feel like the guy?
100%. He feels like a Viking to me.
Yep. Yeah. Like a young Jared Allen.
Yep. All right.
We'll take it, Brian Bryce. You're
We're
headed
close.
to Minnesota.
We're getting close. Jaguars.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah. Do they go edge?
They could.
Do they go Banks?
They could go Deontay Banks. They could go a lot of different ways.
They could.
What do you think? So they need guard, center, defensive back. I doubt that they go center, and I don't know how many guards are there. Do you think this is Deontay Banks then?
I think because it's also that's somebody the Cowboys are looking at, and nothing happens more than guys going off the board 1 and 2 picks that they want ahead of them.
Then listen, I'm not going to steal your guy, but I think this could be.
Yeah.
Because I would have put them in the Dalton Kincaid sweepstakes because Evan Ingram is on the franchise tag, which basically means he's a 1-year rental.
Yep.
Also, Doug Peterson likes having multiple tight ends. So unless you're thinking Michael Mayer goes to the Jags, I think Deontay Banks is the guy.
Yep, I do too. Sign it up.
We are on to the Giants, and I would just like to say I don't think there is a worse position to be in than the Giants right now.
Yeah.
I know we are biased because this is a Cowboys-Eagles show. They are financially invested in a mediocre quarterback and probably a running back.
Yep.
And have about 7 other holes position-wise to deal with when they're financially committing to that.
And I think they're going to pick a wide receiver.
You know what would be the most hilarious outcome of this?
They take Zay Flowers, and they have nothing but short receivers.
That I was going to say they let Saquon walk and then repeat the same mistake and draft a running back in the first round and take Bijan Robinson. You can see that too.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see this being Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
Or Zay Flowers. But the only thing is, I mean, Slayton, that they've kind of done that short, shifty receiver guy. They've got a lot of them. Do they need that kind of?
No, I think you're right. This could be Johnson because, like we saw on his draft guide when we pulled him up, like a prototypical X. I think they probably want a guy who's just sturdy, somebody that they can believe and trust in. So
the guy that they thought, what's his name was?
Kenny Galladay.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So you're basically drafting what you thought you paid Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just they're trying to make up for their mistakes is the issue. Like they've made too many draft mistakes and too many free agency mistakes. And now they're making up for it. So yeah, I think Quentin Johnson's the guy.
This is my nightmare.
Is it? I think I see somebody that you would like.
So I really like Zay Flowers, but we're just going to take him off the board because of his size. I mean, the Cowboys will never draft a 5'10", 170-pound receiver. It's just not happening. I think we're down to these two, and to be honest, at this.
You told me there's a guy that the Cowboys have fallen in love with before we started recording tonight. There was a guy that you said. Who was it?
Michael Mayer.
You still believe it?
I mean, he's technically has been tight end one for how long? His nickname as a freshman at Notre Dame was Baby Gronk. He's 6'4", 265. His tape does not lie. He's fast. He ran the same speed as TJ Hawkinson, who went top 10. I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, I've watched him every Saturday for the past couple of years. And his blocking is very good for a tight end. What do the Cowboys say they want to do this year? Run the damn ball. They love using the tight ends. I think Jerry Jones will fall in love with him. It's, his new Jason Witten. Dalton Schultz is going to be walking. I think this realistically could be the pick at 26.
All right. I think you would be happy.
You agree?
Yes, I do. I very much do. Especially with Schultz walking.
Yep.
Bills on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
They could go a number of different ways. I was thinking the same thing. You were thinking that too?
Mm-hmm.
They at some point they have to take the pressure off Josh Allen, right?
They have to, right?
They have to do something.
I mean, this all encompasses that they obviously this is before free agency that they don't make a move for Derrick Henry or for Miles Sanders or something like that.
True, correct. But we'll put an asterisk next to it. But you think Bijan Robinson, right?
I mean, yes. I mean, do you really want Josh Allen to continue to be running this much?
I feel like a lot of their mistakes stem from the fact that they don't have somebody who you can just hand the ball off to and get 6 yards.
Yep.
They just don't have that. And to have this feature back where he takes the pressure off in a variety of ways because you can throw him the ball. He's obviously great at running. He can break tackles and turn a 6-yard run into a 26-yard run. And they've just never had that in the Josh Allen era. And it can take your offense to the next level.
And there are people mocking him to the Eagles at 10, and you're getting him at 27.
Never going to happen, by the way.
No,
but yes, at 27, it's not the most unrealistic thing. I would not take running backs in the first round, but
if these guys pass on him, you got to take him, I think.
Yeah. It's fair. I think I can do it.
I like it. All right.
Bengals on the clock. Should we just give them an offensive lineman?
I mean, their offensive line stinks. There's a possibility now that Lyle Collins, the big tackle from the Cowboys who they let go, they signed, who also got a Bengals tattoo like 2 days after signing. There's a chance he is going to be a cap casualty after 1 year with the Bengals. So they need it. I mean, what do you say when you invest in a quarterback? I mean, you have to protect Joe Burrow now.
The Bengals tried. They went to the Super Bowl and it was a disaster because they couldn't block for Joe Burrow. They invested in him. They actually did not invest in him when he tore his ACL, and then they tried to invest in him and it still didn't work. Maybe this is the guy. Anton Harrison, the tackle out of Oklahoma. You can see this. Harrison is 100% a tackle. Teams should buy into his high-end pass protection translating into the NFL. Mm-hmm. Well, if you have Joe Burrow on your team, you might want that.
Yep. Yes, please. Let's do it. Lock it in. Easy. Run the card up.
He had a meeting with the Eagles.
Yeah, he did.
Saints on the clock. They're another team that could go anywhere, right? Like this could be anything at this point. Not quarterback because they just got Derek Carr. Maybe it's Zay Flowers. I know they just went Olave, so I don't know if they would go back to back. I don't know what you think.
Who would we take for them? Or we didn't have one for them. Do they have this their second? Yeah, no.
Remember why they don't have one?
Yeah, that's exactly why I just
it's the best. So when it comes to them, it's another team that can go a variety of ways.
Cam Smith here.
You like that one? I do too.
I mean, I think he has a chance to make his way into the first round. I really do. Third round.
That's insane.
What?
Why would it? Okay, well, let's ignore that part because it says PFF Big Board ranked 38 and they have him ranked as the third round grade. So it's got to be one of the two things. He's either early second or a third round. Those are very big differences.
And when you're picking at pick 29, guess what? That's an early second round pick. Okay.
There you go.
It says first round, but it's a second round pick.
We'll take it.
If they need corner, which they do, head coach is a defensive minded guy. They had trouble, but also you just invested in Carr. I mean, I like Forbes too. I didn't see him there. Do you want to give him another weapon? That's the only, I love Josh Downs too, but I don't know. You make the call on this one.
I think Kmess.
Okay. We agree on it. Done. It's drafted. And sir?
Okay. Eagles on the clock. When it comes time, very much doubt that they'll be on the clock.
Yeah.
I really think that they will trade back
Zero
to
trades.
avoid. Yeah. So for sake of this, because we're approaching the end here, are
you on the clock with two of the best fucking wide receivers in this draft?
It would be a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Man, Josh Downs is really tempting.
As an upgrade over Quez Watkins.
Quez Watkins. Yeah. Damn, that's good. This is rough.
He's so good. I feel like he's so underrated.
Where's his role slot? Oh no. I don't want to do the gimmicky like, oh, I want a wide receiver. I don't see a way that they leave this first round without somebody on the interior defensive line or an edge rusher. But the way the board played out, I mean, who are they taking over that?
I don't think there's an interior defensive lineman that's better than Josh Downs.
I'll take Josh Downs.
That kills me.
Now, like I said, though, he's got to be on the board at 35.
Yep.
I just don't think they're going to pick at 30.
I think Zay Flowers has Kansas City written all over him. But
yeah. So Juju's probably not coming back.
No.
He's going to cost too much. They didn't
Nicole Hardman's a free agent.
Nicole Hardman's a free agent. Last year they went Karlaftis. They went Trent McDuffie. They went defense.
Yeah, but they got what's his name? Who's the wide receiver they took last year? Oh, Stuart Moore.
Oh yeah.
Sky Moore. Sky Moore.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think Zay Flowers could be the guy. I know they maybe they go edge with Will McDonald because they're losing Frank Clark. They could go a variety of different ways.
They could.
Where he wins explosiveness, 3-0, line 9 defensive end, where he can play strength. Ooh, the last one might be our toughest one yet.
Yeah.
I don't want to help the Chiefs.
The coin for me.
Oh man. Man. It depends on how they feel about Sky Moore.
Yeah. I think they like him. Hold on, let me just see something real quick before we do this.
Last pick. We're struggling with the last one. This is technically Mr. Irrelevant in this draft.
Yeah. Sky Moore. Sky Moore is 5'10", 195, 5'10", 172. I don't know.
Let's give him the edge rusher.
Yeah. Right. Clark. I don't know if you want those two same guys.
No. Yeah. I go Will McDonald.
So now I think Zay Jones is the guy that everybody is negotiating all night long to try and trade up to be the first pick in the second round.
Yep. And if you're the Eagles, you're at 30. Just do that.
Yep.
Well, that is a wrap on Birds vs. Boys War Room Mock Draft 3.0. Traded and picked for every team that we could that didn't have to forfeit a pick. Hopefully everybody likes what they see. We tried to improve everybody, tried to make it make sense for everybody based on best player available and team needs. I think we did an all right job for everybody. Yep. So make sure you're subscribed to Birds vs. Boys on YouTube because we're going to be doing a ton of these. Drafting for the Eagles, drafting for the Cowboys, drafting for everybody, doing player breakdowns of top prospects, all on our YouTube page from now until the NFL draft. And then even beyond. We'll be talking draft coverage. So if you liked what you saw, make sure to subscribe, and we will be back with our normal content and more mock drafts and mock draft season.